G'day Pels fans and welcome to Flock, a New Orleans Pelicans podcast. I am your host, Lyle Swithenbank, at Lyle Swithenbank on Twitter and on TikTok, and at LylePels on Instagram, newly launched. Make sure you go and follow us on all of those things, and of course on YouTube as well. If you're watching it on YouTube or listening on your podcast app, we're on all of those as well, and we appreciate all the support. Make sure, if you don't mind, you hit that subscribe, you hit that like, you hit the download button wherever you're listening. All the support and growth has been wonderful, and I appreciate it. Now, you're probably wondering where I've been. We were over in Melbourne, as you would have seen on my shorts and reels and TikToks. But unfortunately, I came back with a little bit of the lurgy, so I've held off recording purely because no one wants to hear me sniffing for half an hour. So I'm back on deck. I'm up and about, ready and raring. And so let's get into it. The Pelicans visited Australia, Melbourne, and started their preseason campaign against Melbourne United on Friday the 3rd of October. And I tell you what, as a Pelicans fan and as a fan of basketball, this was a fantastic event. The whole NBA crossover with the NBL was a raging success. There wasn't many things I had a gripe about at all. A couple of little, tweaks in some of the intro videos, leaving some players that aren't here anymore. A little issue on the open training session. They just basically underestimated how many bags were going to be there. Very, very minor details. Did not hold anything up, did not impact anything. At the end of the day, we got to see our Pels, kick off their campaign. And a campaign that sounds like, and, with all the sort of vibrations behind it, could be one that surprises a few people. So the Pelicans arrived in Melbourne on the Tuesday, which would have been Tuesday the, 1st or 2nd, and they stayed at Crown Towers, which is a beautiful part of Melbourne in Swithenbank, and basically got to have a bit of a junket to have a look around. Quick trip, but also a bit of a, let's get the team together, build a bit of camaraderie, a lot of new pieces as we know, and sort of get away. And what it turned into was a celebration of basketball. It really did. You had Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen flowing down. They did some events, and we heard a lot of them. The Globetrotters celebrating their 100 years. They're about to go on their 100-year tour. We had a lot of that. The Saturday night, we had a dunk contest with some of the great dunkers on the professional dunk circuit. 3-point shooting contest, skills challenge, all a bit of a laugh. Mascots dancing. Great for the kids. Middle of school holidays, and you couldn't have asked for much more. As a basketball fan, an Australian basketball fan, that we've never seen an NBA team play on Australian soil before, what an experience. And I still pinch myself that I was fortunate enough to go and watch my own team. We had people in jerseys from all over, lots of Lakers and Milwaukee and Chicago, everything. It was some unique and wonderful and wild and, some mythic pulls on these jerseys, and it really was just awesome. And I think shout out to the Pelicans for properly embracing that. It definitely wasn't a Pelicans event, this wider sort of event. It was a basketball event. The Pelicans were the team, but it was run by the NBA, run by the NBL, and I think they did a great job. And I think the Pelicans played their part to a T. We saw a half a Zion, a half a Trey, Zion in both games, and the crowd loved it. What it also did was endear the Pelicans to a whole new fandom. What you've got is a whole bunch of kids sporting Pelicans merch from a notoriously small market. And as you get those kids coming through wearing the Pelicans jerseys, they'll get stuck with a team like that. They'll be along for the ride. Oh, that's the team I went and saw when I was 8, 9, 10 years old. That's my team now. And all of a sudden you've got this completely untapped fan base that were looking for a team that have never had a team to go and watch. The NBA and the NBL is very different. in terms of the quality of basketball, to say the least, and even the rules. So it was pretty special. It really was. Now, my favourite highlight of the whole weekend was, well, I mean, besides watching the guys play and Zion looking absolutely phenomenal, was probably the fan catch-up that we hosted on the Saturday afternoon. We had about 10 or 12 people come down, and I just want to acknowledge those people that came down just to catch up. We gave away a couple of signed pictures, courtesy of the Pelicans, which was really cool, and being able to share that experience with others and say, hey, look, you know, the Pelicans care about their fans. Here's an opportunity to win a signed picture. Well, that's so special. And getting to meet people from all over Australia who've come out to watch the Pelicans, it's just, yeah, that was pretty special, to be fair. And I really appreciate everyone coming out to that. That was good fun. And you know, we've got our little Aussie group chat now, so if anyone wants to be involved, let us know. But it's going to be a lot of fun being able to chat Pels when everyone's in the same time zone, or at least in the same hemisphere, which you don't often get to do as an Australian Pelicans fan. So you've united us all, which is cool. We'll head to the games now. So the Pelicans end up winning by the skin of their teeth against Melbourne United on the Friday night. We saw the starters for about 15 minutes each. They were playing NBA rules, NBA court set up. And that's not what they play in the NBL. So, you know, Melbourne United had to adjust. They didn't have their best player, Chris Golding. The second best player, Shea Ely, got injured early on, and he's out for a few weeks now. What it meant is that the Pelicans were up. They got challenged. I think they came in thinking they were just going to smash them, and Melbourne United did not lie down. They came out, challenged the team, and made them earn it. And even when we were down late in that last quarter, and we were down to just, you know, the young guys, what we saw is a team that dug in and said, no, we can't lose this game. It's time to go and win. And I think the depth of the Pelicans probably helped that we could bring in fresh legs when United just had their regular roster of 13 guys. So, with a couple of guys missing. So, it was good that the Pelicans won that. What was interesting is we saw the first of Jeremiah Fears. I thought he was great. Of course, a little bit shaky with the ball, turned it over, a lot of missed shots, but a confidence and speed that we haven't had in a lead guard for a very, very long time. Of course, took a lot of shots. There's a quote going around, you know, he's a shooter but not a maker. And I think that that's an interesting quote, because the confidence to take those shots is exactly what you want. You want a guy that's willing to go and drive into the paint, break it down, and take on those players. Will he get that opportunity during the regular season? No, he's going to be playing a lot less, you'd imagine, and won't be put in situations where he's got to continue to make plays and be out there by himself for long stretches, orchestrating an offense. But I liked all the potential that we saw in that game. I thought that was really cool. Trey Murphy, he looked really good. The handle looked tight. He looked like the sort of guy that's ready to take that next step. He looked determined. And he looked like the second best player out there. And the first player, of course, was Zion, who we've seen pictures and everyone's saying, yeah, he's looking pretty good. In person, he looks phenomenal. I've been trying to keep a lid on it, but he looks as good as they come. He looks great. The stuff that he was doing at both ends of the court, we always knew he could score. But the defensive side of things, getting rebounds, pushing the ball, the round-the-back save into a dunk, I think it was in the second game, but that was just unbelievable. We haven't seen Zion even attempt those things. Yeah, he's done the big blocks and things like that, but this consistent lockdown defense that he was very rarely beaten at. And what I liked about that is there's a mentality shift. And they talked about this, Zion, he's stepping up as a leader. And it's all well and good, yet I start yapping and getting guys to listen to me. But now, if I'm going to say let's go in and dig in and win, well, I'm going to defend. And we saw him at times on Milton Doyle, mainland Milton, who had himself a game for Melbourne. He was by far their best player. He's their import this year. And Zion was guarding. He was going at him one-on-one. And I have no issues with that. I think that was great. He held his own. Milton Doyle is a great player. He scores a lot. He's had a long career as a mercenary basketballer. Zion looked as good as anyone. And I thought, that's a guy that could be a top 10 player in this league. And yes, of course, it's a bit early to be doing that. Of course it is. But it's just what I saw in front of me is that he just looked a class above. He looked like he was way better than everyone else on the court. And that was the expectation, and we know that he's got all the talent. But seeing it come together, man, oh man, I was pretty happy with that. I liked Kevon Looney. I thought he was very good. Got rebounds. Took a three, missed it, but that looks like something he's been working on. He looked good. We saw Jordan Hawkins, who, while his three wasn't really falling, he did a whole heap of things. Grab rebounds, and for a guard, he's always been a pretty good rebounder. He gets up, gets the rebound, he pushes it. Decision making at times average. At one point he got stripped and they scored down the other end. I think he thought there was going to be a timeout and there wasn't. But when you've got the next man up mentality all the time, you've got to stay ready. And I thought Jordan Hawkins absolutely put his hand up to get minutes should some become available. I don't think at the start of the season there are any for him, but I wouldn't rule him out featuring at some point this year. Jose Alvarado looked really good. I thought he was solid, pushed the pace, three-point shot looked good, doing all the Jose things, being a pest, pushing hard, and I can't really fault what he did. And I think the bright spark as well, and more so in the second game, of course, was Saddiq Bey. Year and a half off, coming back from an ACL. I thought he was great. I thought he came out and did exactly what his job was. Defend hard, grab rebounds, shoot the three, space the floor. And he's an underrated part of this Jordan Poole trade, and we'll get to Jordan in a second. But Saddiq Bey looked really good, and particularly in that second game. We'll talk about it in a minute. Jordan Poole, he was a bit of a cult hero down in Australia. They wanted to come to the pool party. They were all up and about. I think a lot of guys these young guys have come through watching the Golden State team come through, so they know Jordan Poole. Access to basketball is not as easy down here. You pretty much got ESPN, so you get the Thursday night games, maybe a Saturday and a Sunday game, and that's all Monday morning when the season gets going. But they're all the national broadcast games, unless you go and pay for League Pass and specifically want to watch the team. So guys like LeBron and Poole and Curry and these guys that have been on national TV a lot and had some success, they're going to have a bit more popularity. What that meant is you've got more casual fans wanting to go and watch the Pelicans because they recognise Jordan Poole. And, he played up to the crowd. He had his sunglasses on and he was having a bit of fun. I thought it was impressive. And what I like from him, he's got a bit of pizzazz. He's the sort of guy that can break down defenses. He's not afraid to let it fly. He's like wily and quick and uses pick and rolls beautifully. He's got that real knack for finding space, and I like that. I think that's going to be really handy, particularly when he's on the court with Zion. There's going to be a bit of two-man game there. You put him, Zion, Trey Murphy on the court. Gosh, you can't double team everyone. So I look forward to seeing what we can do with that sort of core three this year. Yves Messi, I thought, was solid. He was dunking everything. He was getting up and about. Carlo Makovic, same thing, attacking the paint, getting rebounds, dunking the ball. Everything you ask him to do. Play hard, get rebounds, block shots. I can't really fault what the guys were doing in that. I thought they played hard. And this is, of course, a first hit out, right? This is your first go of the new season. You're in Australia. You're running 13 hours ahead, so you don't know what time you're on. The guys are waking up 2 o'clock in the morning because they don't know what's going on. And that takes about a week to get over, to be fair. So they're probably only just coming right now after getting back. So I can't fault what they showed out in that first half. I thought there was some things we could tweak. You got to take care of the ball, think a better passing, finding the guys. It comes with chemistry. It comes with reps. You got new guys that you're adding in, and I thought they looked solid. The real downside of the day or the weekend is that we had no Herb Jones. He was out with the sore foot or a bit of soreness, and so he was sore ankle. Sorry, he rolled his ankle in the closed training, and it meant that they held him out. Look, I get that. It was disappointing because the hardcore Pels fans want to see him, but at the same time, don't get injured in Australia. Just don't. Which Jose did his very best to. Looks like he's fine now and back at training, but and all those guys are back at training that had a few little niggles that got injured during the little trip. Looney got hurt in the second one, went off. Jose went down. Trey Murphy missed it. Well, geez, I'd be a bit worried that we were losing guys left, right, and centre, but they're all back training now and should be right to go for tomorrow against the Rockets in Birmingham. So, fast forward, we get to the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix game and we dog walked them. Absolutely flogged the living daylights out of them. Melbourne's a better team than Southeast Melbourne. They are. They always have been. Southeast Melbourne's fine, is what it is. They did what they needed to do. They ran plays. They made Southeast Melbourne look like a second-tier league team, which is what they are. They're from a different league. But you had to smash them. And they did. So I was really happy with that. Sadiq Bey was fantastic. He was hitting threes. He was spacing out. He was pushing the floor, getting into positions to be successful. Zion looked great again. There was as I said, jumped out of bounds, flicked it around his back to Jeremiah Fears, who put it down the other end. And things like that gives me excitement. If you can play in transition, that's where the Pelicans are at their best. They are going to have to play fast. And you've got all the players now. Everyone looks to be in shape to be able to do it. That's now going to be the test. Is get out, rebound, and run. You've got the rebounding. We've got to make sure that they get that rebound. And then go. The difficulty will be, and we'll get caught out a bit this year, I bet, especially early on, is we go too fast. We assume someone else gets the rebound, and that's where we get caught out. The defensive possession finishes when the rebound's secured, then we go. If you've got the ability to leak out, we've got enough talent to find you in the open court. But you've got to secure that rebound. And there was a couple of instances in both games where we let those offensive rebounds go, and it's purely because we assume someone else is going to get them. Looney, Misi, we got these guys. Zion, it's going to have to be team rebounding again. Yeah, you got some centers, you got some good rebounders now. You got to secure it. And that's where it starts. So the Pelicans won by about 50 in that first, or 45 or something in that second game against Southeast Melbourne. Absolutely flogged them. That's how you want to finish the preseason game. And you sort of junk it to Australia. The disappointing part is that then they just hopped on an aeroplane that night and flew back. Now, my understanding of that is that they had to go straight away because the CBA dictates that on long trips like that, the players have to have 2 clear days off. So what that meant is that as soon as they touched down and got home, well, the next day and then the next day before they can actually do anything. So, yeah, okay, you can do your own work. I saw Jeremiah Fears back at the court at 5 a.m. the next day. That's probably because he woke up at 1 a.m. Having lived that experience before. He was like, well, I'm already awake. Might as well go and do something. That, I think, is the issue that they had to sort of get back as quickly as possible. Plus, the longer you stay over here, even though people are like, yeah, another couple of days would have been good. I also get it that they've come here to play. You got 20 hours to get back. They had to go via Dallas and get back to New Orleans. So by the time you get home and then you have your 2 days, you're only probably a week out before you got to start again against Houston, and then you're only a week out. What are we, a week and a half out of the start of the season now? So it doesn't leave a lot of time, particularly when you're battling jet lag as well. That being said, they got back to training and we started seeing some training videos come back out. What I like from that is they showed a video that they hadn't previously really touched on. We hadn't seen this from Pelicans media before. And it was Willie Green telling the guys off after training. Essentially, he said, it's not good enough. We didn't execute. Starts with me, but we didn't execute and it wasn't good enough. We need to be better. You don't often see that, and I don't watch a lot of other teams' media, but I would say that you wouldn't air a lot of that stuff normally. But what it showed me is that you had people holding the team accountable. It's not good enough to come in and be subpar. You have to execute. You have to treat training like you're playing a game. Whatever you do at practice, you're going to do in a game. So practice as if you're playing. I thought that was really good from Willie Green. I like the number of voices that are coming in. You got Zion talking. Jordan Poole has taken on a leadership role. You can hear him talking all the time. You're getting the sharing of knowledge. You're getting different voices who are also contributing, who are all around the same age, talking and saying this is what we've got to do. And you've got guys that have won. That's, I think, is a really important part. Is you've got guys like Looney, you've got guys like Jordan Poole. They won championships. They know what it takes to win. They've watched greatness. They've played with greatness. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. You've played with these top-level talents that have won it all and have won consistently. So if you can pick their brain and have them bring that into your locker room, I'm all for it. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing these different voices become leaders. You're watching these guys buy in. You know, watching on the sidelines in the Aussie games, Zion's pulling Jeremiah Fears apart to the side. Hey, this is what you need to work on. Pointing, directing, telling him, and you see him absorbing it. The sharing of knowledge, which we know Joe Dumas had sort of highlighted. This is what's important. Older guys with the younger guys, sharing that knowledge, sharing that that information. I, for one, love it. I thought that was really good. So, fast forward. We've had a few days of training. The guys are settling back in. Derek Queen seems to be progressing. They're talking about he's starting to get moving again, shooting. You know, he's going to have to go through the contact and things like that, build back up, hopefully sooner rather than later. They still haven't given him a timeline. But we take on Houston at Birmingham, the home of the squadron, the G League team. What I like about that is you go off again, you get in your own bubble, it's not as far, it's only a couple of hour flight, and you take on a top tier team. Houston finished second last year, they go and add Kevin Durant. That's a good team. That's a team that we expect to be at the top of the Western Conference. What a great litmus test. This is your third game as well. You start ramping players up. We'll probably see a fair bit of Zion, Trey, Herb, Jordan Poole, Looney. We'll see a lot of these lineups start to come to fruition. They're still going to be tinkering, of course. But this is a really interesting one because you look at the Rockets team, they look a little bit different to they were last year. So, you know, Thompson's going to take another leap. I think he looks great. But you lose Fred VanVleet. They've got a missing point guard. The guy that makes it all work. He's injured. So what does Houston look like? I don't know. Traditionally, Kevin Durant's been pretty good against us, as he was good against everyone. They also want to get out and run. They play hard. They defend. They're long, athletic. They've got Sengun who can create. Becomes that offensive hub that we know we want Derek Queen to turn into. But what it starts with is the defensive end. It's got to be 1 through 5, bought in, and playing the defensive systems correctly. Identifying mismatches, exploiting them on the other end, rebounding and run. You have to play at pace. I also think we've got to get some threes to fall. We've got all the talent now. We always have. You know, well, CJ's always been talented. Trey. We've got guys that can shoot. But the more space you can create for Zion, the better. He's been practicing his little midi. I don't mind the little pull-up things he's been doing. But it's about starting fast and putting the foot down and not letting up. You can't come out sluggish. You can't come out and just expect it to happen. And so that's what I want to see from these guys tomorrow is play with a bit of oomph, a bit of get up and go, and continue to put yourselves in positions to be successful by being disruptive. Take care of the basketball. Go fast, but don't rush. They were talking about in the broadcast that they want to get over the halfway line by 20-second mark. That means push the ball up. It means multiple guys bringing the ball up, everyone being on the same page. Don't walk the ball up, dribbling it between your legs, trying to be cool, and then getting the offensive set at 17, 8, or 16, 15 and a half seconds, because all of a sudden the shot clock becomes an issue as well. And I know Willie Green's been preaching this for years, but this is the opportunity. He's got all the talent. It has to come together. It really does. So that is going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to watching that tomorrow, and we'll do another show after that, just unpacking the game. We're going to start doing a bit more of that. Of course, there's been a few gaps in the off-season broadcast. I've been here, there, and everywhere and a little bit unwell, as you know. But regular programming from tomorrow, we will be flying when the Pelicans take on the Rockets. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. I'm back in Perth. The Pelicans are back tomorrow. You can follow us. Remember this. At Lyle Swithenbank. LyleSwithenbank. As in bank. YouTube. TikTok. Twitter. LylePels on Instagram. Now, if you don't mind, you hit that thumbs up, you hit that subscribe. I appreciate all the support out there. It's been wonderful, and being able to share it all with Lark has been one of the great things in my life as well. So it's great to have a partner that supports you, and that's my final thoughts on the little Australian junket and what's to come with the rest of the preseason. Who knows? So this has been Flock, a New Orleans Pelicans podcast. I am your host, Lyle Swithenbank. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, stay safe, and of course, bye for now.